Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. When you reach the twilight years of your life, who will be there for you? Who will truly hold you up when your body weakens, when your mind slows, when the days seem heavier? If you believe the answer is simply family, I urge you to think again. Because here's the harsh reality: your children will have their own lives, your grandchildren will be preoccupied with their futures, and the world will not slow down to accommodate you. This isn't cynicism, this is responsibility. And responsibility, my friends, is what defines whether your final decades are filled with dignity or despair. Your body is a system that will inevitably deteriorate with age, but the rate and extent of that decline are not fixed. They are negotiable. You have far more control over your physical resilience than most people believe. If you allow yourself to weaken, if you embrace a passive attitude toward aging, you will find yourself at the mercy of external forces, medical interventions, caretakers, and the goodwill of others. But if you take responsibility for maintaining strength, mobility, and endurance, you extend your autonomy and quality of life. Muscle mass is not just about looking strong, it's about maintaining function. Sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle tissue with age, is one of the primary contributors to frailty. If you don't fight against it with deliberate strength training, you will become increasingly dependent on others for even the most basic tasks. Walking upstairs, standing up from a chair, carrying groceries, these are not trivial abilities. They define whether you remain independent or not. Cardiovascular health is another key factor. A sedentary lifestyle leads to a weakened heart, reduced lung capacity, and increased risk of disease. If you stop moving, your body assumes movement is no longer necessary and adapts accordingly by shutting down vital capacities. The antidote is simple: stay active, walk, swim, stretch, do resistance training. Treat your body as if you intend to use it for decades to come. And let's not ignore balance and flexibility. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury and death among the elderly. Strengthening your core, maintaining flexibility, and improving coordination are essential. If you wait until you're frail to start, it's too late. The work begins now. If you neglect it, you will regret it. If you embrace it, you will stand strong when others fall. Your mind is like a muscle: use it, or it will waste away. Intellectual engagement isn't just about entertainment or passing the time. It's about maintaining cognitive function, mental clarity, and a sense of purpose. If you stop challenging your brain, it begins to deteriorate, just like an unused limb shrinks from disuse. Many people assume that memory loss, confusion, or cognitive decline are inevitable with age, but much of it is self-inflicted through intellectual laziness. Reading, writing, and learning are not optional, they are necessary defenses against mental decay. If you spend your days passively consuming shallow entertainment, your brain adapts by becoming weaker. If you refuse to engage with complex ideas, to solve problems, or to push yourself beyond your comfort zone, your mind will atrophy. The people who remain sharp into their 70s and 80s are the ones who never stopped learning. They are the ones who saw their intellect not as a finished product, but as a lifelong work in progress. Challenging your mind is also crucial for maintaining emotional stability. The moment you stop thinking critically, you become more susceptible to fear, manipulation, and despair. People who actively engage with difficult material, whether that be philosophy, history, mathematics, or even a new skill, are more resilient in the face of uncertainty. They are less likely to feel lost as the world changes because they have trained themselves to adapt. Social engagement plays a role as well. Conversations, debates, and shared intellectual pursuits keep the mind active. Surround yourself with people who push you to think, who challenge your beliefs, who make you question and refine your understanding of the world. If you do not, you risk intellectual stagnation. And once the mind stagnates, the rest of life follows. Money is not just a tool for survival, it is a foundation for independence, dignity, and freedom in old age. By the time you reach 70, you will either be in control of your financial situation or at the mercy of circumstances beyond your control. The reality is harsh. If you do not prepare for your later years, you will find yourself dependent on the government, charity, or the strained goodwill of your family. None of these are reliable, and none of them will give you the kind of life you truly want. Financial independence means having the ability to make choices. It means you can afford the medical care you need without waiting on bureaucracy. It means you can live where you want rather than where you are forced to be. It means you do not have to burden your children, who are likely struggling with their own financial responsibilities. The absence of money in old age does not just cause inconvenience, it strips you of control over your own life. Planning for this does not happen overnight. It is a decades-long process that requires discipline, foresight, and responsibility. Saving consistently Investing wisely and living within your means are not luxuries for the wealthy, they are necessities for anyone who wants to avoid financial desperation later in life. Those who spend their younger years living recklessly, assuming everything will work itself out, will find themselves in a cruel position when they are no longer able to earn. Even beyond survival, financial stability allows you to engage with life fully. It enables travel, hobbies, social activities, and generosity. It ensures that your final years are lived on your own terms. Without it, you are not just old, you are powerless. And nothing is more dangerous than aging without control over your own fate. Loneliness is a silent killer, and as you age, it becomes one of the greatest threats to your well-being. Many people assume that their family will always be there, that their children and grandchildren will provide constant companionship. But life does not work that way. Your children will have their own responsibilities, their own struggles, and their own families to care for. Your friends, if you do not actively maintain those relationships, will drift away or pass on. If you do not cultivate strong social networks beyond immediate family, you will find yourself isolated. Human beings are social creatures. Our sense of purpose, our emotional stability, and even our cognitive function are tied to meaningful interactions. People who maintain active social lives live longer, remain mentally sharper, and experience lower rates of depression and anxiety. Yet, as people age, they often allow their social circles to shrink. They stop making the effort to meet new people, to stay in touch, to engage in shared experiences. That is a fatal mistake. You must be deliberate about building and maintaining relationships. This means joining groups, clubs, or organizations that align with your interests. It means regularly reaching out to friends instead of waiting for them to call. It means investing time in mentorship, in community service, in being part of something bigger than yourself. These connections will sustain you when life becomes difficult, when family is unavailable, when the days grow long and the world seems to move on without you. The difference between a fulfilling old age and a lonely one is effort. If you do not put in the work to build relationships, no one will do it for you. Isolation is a choice, and it is one that leads only to regret. When you wake up in the morning, there needs to be a reason to get out of bed. This doesn't change when you turn 70. In fact, it becomes even more important. Without a sense of purpose, life loses its meaning. Many people assume that once they retire, they can simply relax and enjoy life, but without something driving them forward, that relaxation quickly turns into boredom, stagnation, and eventually despair. The mind and body deteriorate not just from age, but from a lack of meaningful engagement with the world. Purpose is what keeps people alive, both physically and mentally. It is what allows people to remain sharp, energetic, and motivated. Some find it in creative pursuits, writing, painting, or music. Others find it in mentoring younger generations, sharing the wisdom they have accumulated over decades. Some dedicate themselves to community service, helping those in need, contributing to causes that matter, or simply being a source of guidance for those who seek it. What matters is not the form it takes, but that it exists. Without it, life becomes an empty waiting room for the inevitable. Purpose is not something that is handed to you, it is something you must actively create. Waiting for inspiration or motivation to come is a mistake. You must decide deliberately what you will contribute, what will keep you engaged, what will make each day worth living. If you don't, you will slip into a passive existence where the days blend into each other, where time drags on without direction, and where you become a spectator in your own life. A sense of purpose is the ultimate defense against irrelevance. Without it, age is not just a number, it is a weight, dragging you toward an end that comes far too soon.